because we just take random things pushed by Instagram influencers, because we don't have a purposeful and intentional way for how we eat, for how we supplement, and how we live, we end up doing things that don't get us any further or don't get us any closer to actually healing. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Own It Show. I'm your host, Justin Rothling-Schofer, and this is the final part 4 of our series on optimizing cellular health. And if you're wondering which other ones you missed, I want you to go back 3 weeks and start with the one on July 28th. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago, which was really kind of giving the overarching theme of you are a cellular human being and cells are continually becoming new, continually rebuilding. But heart rate variability is that language to tell us how those are actually working and if we're working well. And then the next 3 weeks we went into, okay, how do we improve cellular health, which is going to improve heart rate variability. And the first week was August 5, what if you're not tired, just starving for oxygen, which goes into the next part, which was how do we actually detoxify on August 11th. And then now today, which is diving into what if you're actually not sick, you're just nutrient depleted. And when we think about these things, I'm so excited for where we're going because it's just a plethora of information that's going to be able to bless you and help you heal, bring you in a direction of what the body wants to do naturally, which is heal, which is get back to a natural state of healing, but you have to take it out of the state of protection. And so if this is your first time here, welcome to the Own It Show, the place where we educate, empower, and equip you to take ownership of your health and realize life done differently. And if what you hear today blesses you, if what you hear today intrigues you, interests you, if there's value here, all I ask is that you share it with somebody, you repost it on socials, and you subscribe or comment on our page. Ultimately, it just really helps with getting reach. I think people sometimes underestimate the power of a simple share or a simple comment or a simple subscribe, but what you don't realize is that on the back end, it really benefits the show and getting it out to the people that we really want to empower. And I'll tell you guys, over the last year and a half, we've gone from about 800, 900 downloads a month to just north of 5,000. And I think that's the coolest thing, is seeing the impact that this reaches. 5,000 people every single month download these shows and are listening to these and taking ownership. So I just continue to ask that you would share it, like it, give it to somebody you love, and say, hey, I think you're going to like this because we're bringing you back to the way God created us. So today we're diving into part 3, like I said, which is nutrients. And I think when we think about nutrients in our body, nutrients in how we operate, nutrients in the sense of our health, we oftentimes are just guessing. And when I mean guessing, I mean sitting there going, yeah, you know what? I eat well. You know what? I've got a clean diet. I don't eat any processed food. I try to keep that out of my system. And thus what happens, we actually end up in a space where we underestimate the power of what our body needs. And when we underestimate the power of what our body needs, we really don't get the answers that are adequate. And so we go to the doctor, or maybe we lean into 10x Health or Function Health or Inside Tracker or some at-home blood testing kit, and we think that that is enough to tell us what vitamins, minerals, and amino acids we are missing. But the fact of the matter is that that actually doesn't give us what's getting into the cell. And I want you to sit back for a second and I want you to think about your body for a second. And the majority of you right now maybe have had some hormone testing, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, melatonin, cortisol, and you've been able to see that there's a deficiency or there's an issue that you're struggling with. And because you've seen that, because you've sat there and have gone, oh, I see something is not right or something's going on, that I'm going to go to my health clinic and they're going to give me testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, some type of melatonin at night to fall asleep, and that's going to solve the problem. I want you to think about your cells and your body as a pyramid. And at the top of the pyramid are all those hormones you just talked about. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, melatonin, tryptophan. Those are all end of the road products. And what happens is when we are looking at end of the road products do something in the body. They don't create anything. Well, when we go further down that pyramid and we get to the base, at the cell, everything at the base of the level or at the base of the pyramid doesn't do anything, but it creates everything. And so if you're having issues when it comes to hormones, energy, brain fog, sleeping, weight loss, you don't have a hormone issue. You have a vitamin, mineral, and amino acid issue. You have a cellular nutrient issue. Because in between the base of the pyramid and the top of the pyramid, there's 10,000 processes that happen in the body that are constantly communicating with one another, telling your body that you're safe, that you're well, that you're able, that it's producing these outcomes that you're actually desiring. So that is the critical piece and the critical component I need you to understand, that it's not enough just to do your regular blood work. It's not enough just to do the regular things, because what we're looking at there is blood serum, what's broken, what's not working, which is why the medical system has built a massive business on this. And ultimately Function Health, 10X Health, Inside Tracker, all they've done is taken the same blood testing, and instead of keeping it behind closed doors, make it available to you with a PDF that tells you now 9,000 things to do, but actually where do you start? And it's still not looking inside the cell. It's still disguising reactivity as proactivity. And the only way we can be truly proactive is by looking into the cell. And the way we look into the cell is by doing our cellular blood testing. Because I've seen it thousands of times. People get their blood serum done through Function, through 10X, through Inside Tracker, through their doctor, through some other platform, and they end up coming to us. They end up finding us because they went down this road, they got all these supplements, they made these lifestyle changes, but things still weren't working. And they came to us, and what did they find? They found that the deficiencies that they told they did not have when they were doing the blood testing before, all of a sudden you come over and we find that there's not just 4 deficiencies, but there's 14 deficiencies. And 14 deficiencies that ultimately, if you work your way up the pyramid, create the exact things that you are actually having symptoms of. And that's what I want you to understand, is that we need to know what's getting into the cell, what the body's missing, what it's deficient in, what it's not actually realizing. And when we get to that point, we realize that those are the gaps that are there. Those are the things that are missing. Those are the things that are hurting. Those are the things that they're struggling with. That is the point. That is the moment. That is where we're able to create real change and start to give our body back what it needs. And so cellular testing is where it starts, to understand our vitamin, mineral, and amino acid needs. And the way you can get that is go to ownittesting.com. ownittesting.com. And I'm going to put it out on the podcast right now, but if you go to ownittesting.com, what you'll use is the code HEALTH2025. And when you type in Health 2025, what that'll give you is, it'll basically give it to you at our cost. And I want to do that because I want to get you started. I want you to see what you are able to realize about your body. And you'll see more as we go down this podcast as to why. So Own It Testing, Health 2025, and get that cellular test done so we can understand what you're missing from a vitamin, mineral, amino acid standpoint, as well as we'll start to see what antioxidant and anti-inflammatories actually react within your body. Because I don't know how many times I've seen it where people go, oh, a cinnamon is great for me, or acai berry is great for me, or pomegranate is great for me, or vitamin C is great for me. But actually, they're not anti-inflammatory or antioxidants for your body. The body doesn't respond to them, and thus you're just wasting your money again. And so this is what I want you to do, is get really clear on this so we can get actualized steps of what to do next. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is, we talked about this a little bit in detoxification, where detoxification is the most purposeful thing we can do to start to help our body feel great, but it all runs off what we call circadian rhythm. And it's no different than how we're eating. And because our eating windows get thrown off, we need to create a meal rhythm so that our body can optimally absorb the nutrients that we're eating. And so there needs to be a rhythm to these, meaning we stop eating 3 hours before bed, because again, there's 400 times more melatonin produced in our gut than is produced by the pineal gland in our brain. So when we stop eating, it allows our body now to start digesting the food that we've eaten, which gives us the best opportunity to absorb at the highest rate before we fall asleep, use these nutrients all night, and then be prepared, ready to be woken up and energetic first thing when we wake up in the morning. The second thing is we start eating 3 hours after waking. Why do we wake up and wait 3 hours after we wake up? Or why do we start eating 3 hours after we wake? Because we've gone through probably the longest fast that we've had all day long. 3 hours before bed, then consider maybe a 7-hour sleep. We haven't eaten in 10 hours. We're not starving for calories, meaning we don't need another meal. We're starving for nutrients, which is why we have to hydrate a proper way, which is why we get 20 ounces of water with electrolytes. And the moment we take those in, watch all of a sudden the lights turn on. Watch all of a sudden the energy fly. Watch all of a sudden us start to feel better because we're hydrating, absorbing it, and we're getting the cellular nutrient needs that we need from an electrolyte standpoint. That is how we're operating. And like I said, we're creating the cleanest, best electrolyte product for you guys so that you can actually use it first thing in the morning and feel great and amazing and set the cadence for how your day will start to operate. You'll be able to now get your workout in, be able to go for a walk, be able to get the kids off to school, be able to do whatever's necessary. And then once you break that fast 3 hours later, you've naturally created a 13, 14-hour intermittent fasting window based solely around circadian rhythm. And it gives you now that 9 to 10 hour eating window throughout the day, which when you have this 9 to 10 hour eating window, you are going to absorb food better. You're going to absorb food faster. You're going to start to see the nutrient uptake be so much higher, so much cleaner. And you're going to watch that the actual deficiencies start to drop, because when you do your cellular testing and you redo it every 3 to 6 months, you start to see the impact and you feel the impact. And that is what I love the most about it. The next thing that we need to do is we need to focus on the quality of the food that we're eating. So we focus now on cellular testing so we understand precisely what we're missing. We get into a meal rhythm, meaning we're having the proper meals at the proper time and making sure that we have a rhythm that we can actually start to absorb at the right pace and right place. And then lastly is the quality of food that we're eating. So I've talked a lot about this and how when we start to dive deep into the regenerative farming and the poor nutrient density of our soil, that's where a lot of this is coming from. It's not just the quality of our food that we have to start to think about, and the processed food and the hyper processed foods. It's not just those. It's even the things that we think are clean. It's the apples, it's the pears, it's the nectarines, it's the carrots, it's the celery, it's the meats, it's all the things that are still 3 ingredients or less, but it's where are we getting them from? Are we getting them from sustainable farms? Are we getting them from farmers markets? Are they wild caught? Are they farmed? What is that? And so if we can make sure that the food that we're eating is focused on, again, regeneration farming, focused on, again, I think I've given this out before, but getting your meats from Wild Fork. Wild Fork is one of the best places that I've ever found for quality meat, quality seafood, quality chicken, quality beef, bison, elk, you name it. You can get it off Wild Fork and they'll deliver it nationwide at amazing prices. Their goal is to fix the meat epidemic and the quality of food that's there. So that's the first thing. The second thing is making sure that we are truly eating 3 ingredients or less. And what I mean by that is, somebody asked me the other day, oh my gosh, you want me to eat a food that has 3 ingredients or less? How do we do that? My mom makes this tomato sauce from scratch at home and it has more than 3 ingredients. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking if you go and buy a packaged good, that it has 3 ingredients or less. If you get a protein powder, it has 3 ingredients or less. If you get a bag of noodles, it has 3 ingredients or less. If you buy bread, it has 3 ingredients or less. And so when we think about the food that we're eating, I'm going to give you 2 examples right off the top. Is if you have a food sensitivity in America, you have a food sensitivity in Europe. So doesn't make sense that you can eat bread in Europe, sourdough bread, but you can't eat bread in America, because we're getting so many breads, cereals, grain products that have fortified nutrients, meaning nutrients that are not real. The best example I can give of this is folic acid. Folic acid is folate in a man-made form. And folic acid, for people who have the MTHFR gene mutation, which is in about 85% of people now, can't break down folic acid and thus ends up as a toxin in the body and thus has to be detoxified by the detoxification system. Same thing of all the other garbage that we're taking in, it has to be detoxified. So we're literally putting toxins into our body that our body then has to deal with. And so if we look at the ingredient list and we can be very diligent on 3 ingredients or less, it's going to put us in the best, most powerful position to make sure that we're not only eating great, but we're also reducing the amount of toxins that are in our body. So folic acid is the number one thing that you want to look out for. Get rid of it immediately. we have to look for 5-methyl tetrafolate. That's what we can actually break down. So that should be in your multivitamin. That should be in the bread that you're eating, if there is any put in there. Any type of enriched wheat flour has folic acid, riboflavin, and niacin, which are all man-made vitamins and minerals for folate and vitamin B5. Vitamin B12, cyanocobalamin. It's derived from cyanide. Again, a man-made version of methylcobalamin, methylated cobalamin, which is a methylated B12 that your body can actually digest and use. So these are the things I want you to be aware of, and you should have 3 ingredients or less in every single food that you eat. You go and get a bag of chips, great. I think you should get a bag of chips to have if that's something that you feel. Go find one with 3 ingredients or less. It's going to be very hard to find. Masa chips, I think, are the best ones that I've ever found. Or Vandy chips, one of the two. Very great. But again, it's not your Lay's or your Doritos or your tortilla chips that you find on the shelf. It's making sure, again, everything, every bread, every pasta, every pasta sauce, every nut mix, everything should literally just have 3 ingredients or less. Your protein powders, Truvani is a great one, 3 ingredients or less. Wellicious, another great one, 3 ingredients or less. Prime protein, 3 ingredients or less. We again are in the process of creating a protein powder that has 3 ingredients or less because we want to create the cleanest, best products that you feel safe giving to your kids. And that is what we're going after. That is what we're trying to do here. And so when we think about cellular nutrition, cellular nutrients, it's not only what we're eating, but what's getting absorbed. So if we start to eat 3 ingredients or less with every food that we have, we start to make sure that we're getting meat that is wild caught or farm raised. We start to eat vegetables and fruits that are coming from farmers markets. We're starting to make sure that we have a meal rhythm that is starting 3 hours after we wake up and stopping 3 hours before we go to bed, and then making sure that we're doing our cellular testing once every 6 months and getting custom compounded supplementation built off of that. You watch how all of a sudden the issues that you were having, the hormonal imbalances, the headaches, the brain fog, the inability to fall asleep and stay asleep, the weight gain, the autoimmune issues, all of these things that you've been struggling with start to go away, because every single one of us is 3 to 7 nutrients away from feeling like a completely different person. But because we just take random supplements, because we just take random things pushed by Instagram influencers, because we don't have a purposeful and intentional way for how we eat, for how we supplement, and how we live, we end up doing things that don't get us any further or don't get us any closer to actually healing. We follow clean food diets, we go on all these random diets, we eliminate all these foods, we put us in our state of neglect and deprivation. Ultimately, we start feeling worse at the end of the day. There's some people that actually, when they go on diets, let's call it the keto diet, or they do the mind diet, or they do paleo, or they do the Whole30. And people say they typically feel better for a period of time. The reason is because you've eliminated a lot of garbage from your diet, but by eliminating these foods, there's a lot of really good things that you've eliminated. I was talking to somebody probably 3 or 4 days ago who had gone vegetarian, and they were eliminating the chicken and the beef and all these things, and they felt great for the first 2 months. And after 2 months, something took a massive turn to the right. And it was like, my gosh, what is happening here? I'm lethargic. I don't have energy. I've got headache. My skin is irritated. My nails are breaking. My hair is fraying. Like, what is going on? I talked to them, and what I said was, even though you eliminated a lot of things that your body was taking in because you went vegetarian, you eliminated the bad things, but you also eliminated the good things. And what you had high reserves in from the way that you've been eating for a long time suddenly became depleted as well. And it only took 2 months to do that. And now you are minus the reserves, plus you're minus the bad things. And so you still feel just as bad, if not worse, than when you did before, because you don't have what's necessary for you to function well. And so this is why just grabbing random diets will not get you there. This is why nutrient depletion at the cellular level is critical and is necessary information for us to know in order to be truly proactive in how we're functioning. And so if we're not testing, we're just guessing. And so ownittesting.com will get you that. Use the code Health 2025, and we'll be able to help get you set up on that testing, plus be able to help give you the nutrient density foods that you should be focused on, plus being able to help you with the custom compound supplementation, or being able to help guide you on what this looks like to do it on your own. And we'll be able to do this for you so that you can take ownership here. Because when we start to put more nutrients into our cells, when we start to give them nutrient density and we give them exactly what they need, nutrient depletion goes down, thus stress on the body goes down. If stress on the body goes down, HRV has to go up. When HRV goes up, it's a signal that cellular health is optimized. When cellular health is optimized, you have the opportunity to live longer, healthier, more impactful, more influential lives that leave a legacy that matters. And that is why we exist here at Own It. And so over the course of this series, we've looked at why cellular health matters, why cellular health is where all the healing starts, why cellular health is the critical component that we have to focus on, and why cellular health is the king of everything, because we were made with 30 trillion cells, cells in which they heal, they restore every single day, 500 million every 84 days, ultimately becoming a brand new cellular human being every 5 to 7 years. And what we do daily determines whether we thrive or whether we decay gradually. And this is what I want you to know, because those three things, when we look at oxygen, when we look at the ability to detoxify, and we look at nutrients, are the three things that cells require and that they need. And HRV is the measurement and the communication factor by our body as to whether or not we are functioning well at the cellular level. So if HRV is low, it's one of those three things. If HRV is low, it's not genetics. If HRV is low, there's something going on that is trying to communicate to you, and thus you now have to take action. The ball is in your court, because we know that when we act and do things differently, the results are different. And that is what I wanted this series to be about, to educate, equip, and empower you to take ownership of your health, to see something new, to see something different, to hear it in a way in which it makes sense and is simple, and give you action steps that will take you from where you are to where you want to go. Because our body was created to heal. The same God that created you is the same God that can redeem you, but he needs you to take action. He needs you to do something different. He needs you to act in stewardship, not out of management. Too often we're trying to manage health rather than steward it. And when we steward it well, we have capacity and impact to be able to take ourselves to whole different lengths, but it starts with you. And so it's been great to be with you guys. I pray that, again, that you would take this series, you would save it, you would send it to somebody who you want to see their health restored. And again, if anything you heard here, anything you learned here was helpful to you, make sure you reshare it. Make sure that you comment. Be sure to subscribe here, because again, we're just getting going. So at the end of the day, we know success is different. So own your different, and we'll see you guys next week.